I've always wanted to have somebody in here talk about Scientology, but unfortunately it's been, a lot of places shy away from it because Scientologists have a habit of trying to sue everybody for everything they can possibly do. They don't always win. They tend to lose a lot of cases or they get dismissed. But they do make the effort, and it can be costly especially on the part of the person being sued, to have these frivolous lawsuits over what can I say, in my opinion, nonsense. But I'll let everybody here judge for themselves what they think of Scientology. But anyways, we finally were able to contact Tory Christman. Now, she's been out of Scientology for approximately 4.5 years. She has a 30-year experience with them, so she brings with her a lot of insight and a lot of information about the organization that is generally not made known to the public. Now, I just want to warn everybody that, like with all of our talks, any hecklers will immediately be removed. In other words, be respectful, ask questions at the end of the talk. Just what can I say? We know how to behave. I don't have to go any further on that. Anyways, Tory has been also featured in I think it was like 2 years ago or something like that, a big article, front page article in the LA's New Times magazine, which is no longer here. The only one left is LA Weekly. But it was a big front page article done by Tony Ortez, who's also one of our staunchest supporters. He's now, I believe, in Kansas. I'm not sure if he's still working for the New Times. He may be, but I just haven't talked to him for a while. So anyways, without taking away any more of Tory's time here, I'd like you to give a big hand to Tory.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. My name is Tory Christman. I was in Scientology for 30 years. And as Vaughn said, I left 4.5 years ago, and I will tell you about that. I want to say a couple things before I get started. I used to come to meetings like this. In fact, I went to see Steve Allen. Scientology sent me there to find out if Steve Allen mentioned Scientology as a cult. And it just happened that time he was actually on something totally different. But they do send people to meetings like this. I've been to many of them while I was a Scientologist, and usually the intention is to either distract the speaker off of the subject or degrade the speaker, put them down, say things that make them look bad, etc. And Vaughn and I have agreed that's not going to happen here, and if anybody gets into that, we're going to ask you to leave. So he already mentioned it, but I just wanted to say that's where I come from, because I come from experience on it. I know they do it. We spoke last weekend, and they had people there saying, Tory broker promises. And, and I'm like, I'm not a Scientologist, right? But, that's their trip. So anyway, I wanted to say that. Secondly, I want to say I do like most Scientologists. People ask me all the time, they know Scientologists who are good people. I say, I do too. I love my old friends. But because I woke up, because of people like you who are skeptics and critical thinkers, all of my friends can no longer speak with me. And my husband of 27 years divorced me, and that's pretty heavy, and I'll tell you more about that. But it's like, personally, I have many people that I love that are Scientologists, and they're not bad people. The people running Scientology are a different thing, and they do that's what helped me wake up also, because I started seeing some of their top secret things at the top, and it was like, whoa, this isn't what I got into Scientology for. So anyway, I wanted to make that clear. And the last thing is that these are from my own personal experiences for 30 years. So it is about Scientology, but it's from my experiences, okay? All right, and the last thing is I did have a little bit of a procedure on my face, so that's why if I look a little funny, that's from that. And I had a family emergency, so I'm trying to do the best I can, but please bear with me, okay? All right, great. So the first thing I wanted to do is explain to you, people ask me all the time, how'd you get into Scientology? How many people here, have any of you read Dianetics? Raise your hand. Okay, some people. Have any of you ever done Scientology courses? Okay, all right. Okay, so usually as one person, you learn a lot when you get out. And I spoke to some professors who had studied cults, and they said people don't join cults, cults find you. And that's exactly what happened with me. A little background on my history, I grew up in a really nice suburb north of Chicago called Park Ridge. Very happy, doing great. You know, grew into being a teenager, one of those people that got molested, so that really screwed me up. Then my parents, my dad was in the Hall of Fame, the Football Hall of Fame, for playing for the Chicago Cardinals. In the 60s, broadcast with Kurt Gowdy on NBC. We lived near O'Hare. A lot of the 747s started flying close to our house, and my mom and dad said, well, let's build our dream house. We'll move up to Lake Forest. Well, Lake Forest was like these super rich, super snotty people, and we lost all of our friends overnight, moved up there, and I remember I was raised a Catholic, and I remember this day to this day. I was walking in a church, and I saw all these pictures of these older ladies playing harps, and I thought, you know, the idea of sitting around playing harps for the rest of eternity with a bunch of old bats is horrible, right? And then all my friends are going to go to hell anyway. I knew that. So I thought, party on! And that was, and I swear to God, all my parents' moral codes, I mean, that they taught me went down the drain. And I was like, fair game. You know, I was just like having a great time, wild thing. And I was a crazy person, I admit it. And because I was at the top of this ladder of success, quote unquote, that people were working through in Park Ridge, and here are all these millionaires who are very unhappy and like, well, I've got my Jag outside, what are you driving? And I'm like, who gives a shit? Pardon me for those filming. You know, I do have a little bit of a bad mouth. That's from Scientology. They all swear all the time. So they do. Truck drivers. Okay, so anyway, I've tried to whittle it down, but pardon me, if you have delicate ears, you better leave. But, but anyway, I forgot where I was. Where was I?
You were shouldering with the wealthy.
What is it?
You were shouldering with the wealthy.
That's right. Okay, so thank you. That's one of the things that happens to me. I talk about trees, I get up onto leaves, and I forget where I was. So just bear with me, and I'll have to, you can be my supporter on that. Remember the tree. Okay, so I'm in Lake Forest, I'm around the snotty people, and I'm like, this isn't happening, right? There must be something better. And that was the beginning of me kind of on my own personal quest of, there must be higher than what everybody else knows. There must be something better.